Dozens of community members donate blood Saturday to honor a fallen Rockford police officer while also addressing a blood shortage throughout the region. WIFR's Miriam Niesmeyer talks with Jaimie Cox's family about how this blood drive benefits the community and ensures Cox's legacy of service isn't forgotten.
Jaimie was literally just somebody who would give the shirt off his back for anybody.
Many State Line area residents rolled up their sleeves to honor Jaimie Cox.
I think it's so important and such an easy way to give back to the community and also honor his legacy.
Jaimie was a Rockford police officer who was killed in the line of duty in 2017. His widow, Caitlin, says service defined every part of his life, which led to the establishment of the Jaimie Cox Foundation.
His whole life, he dedicated it to helping others, helping his community. Helping people is just something that was very important to him.
Jaimie served in the Army National Guard and was deployed to Afghanistan before returning home.
We do all of this in honor of keeping that going and helping others in any way that we can, not only in his name and legacy, but just because it's important to do.
Retired Rockford firefighter James Graham was one of many who gave blood to honor Jaimie Cox's memory.
It means a lot that they keeping his legacy alive.
This year marks the 4th annual blood drive held in Jaimie's honor and the 3rd year with the Rock River Valley Blood Center.
Obviously around holiday times, whether it be July 4th, Christmas time, we're always seeing more people on the road, more accidents, more blood that needs to get out to the community.
Maxwell Miller with the Blood Center says Saturday's act of service also addresses the critical need for blood donations.
So having a situation like this where we can see 100+ people in a day, it's huge for our blood collections.
In Rockton, Miriam Niesmeyer, WIFR News.
The Jaimie Cox Foundation hosts 4 events per year to honor his legacy. Cox also graduated from Hononegah High School, so the foundation offers scholarships to students there pursuing careers in nursing, military, or first response.